Oh yeah, what's going on, Game Leapers? This is Coach Eeks, and in today's upload, we're going to be talking about the 15 most broken champions for the upcoming 12.7 patch, and we talked about the changes in yesterday's tier list video, so make sure to check that out if you haven't already for all the details, and also make sure to check out the Game Leap website in the description comment section. You know the drill by now, guys, because we have the best exclusive League of Legends content in the world. I'm being legit. Our Challenger players and coaches from around the world upload up to 20 videos a week, and these will be courses, guides, champion VOD analyses, where we talk to you what the best do that you can do in your games. So get that exclusive access by signing up, and let's get into the 15 champions who will be broken in 12.7. And starting off the countdown at number 15, we have to talk about Trundle, because Trundle in the top lane is an absolute weapon, and he will continue to be in 12.7. Nothing is getting nerfed for the trolls or your synergy with lethal tempo, because your chomp, your Q counts as a stack. So this still means that in the early game you are the strongest 1v1 duelist, and also your synergy with Hullbreaker is still at an all-time high. We also have to consider the new Blade of the Ruined King. Even though it's not giving you the same lifesteal it once was, it is giving you more damage, which is super useful in the top lane because lots of champions are going to be building health as part of their kit. So this makes Blade of the Ruined King Trundle even more effective. So Trundle top lane holds the number 15 position. Now coming in at number 14, we're going to head to the jungle here and talk about Rek'Sai, because Rek'Sai has boasted one of the best win rates for so long now, and it's going to continue next patch. There are no nerfs hitting Rek'Sai, and there are no nerfs to her items as well. Rushing Prowler score and having a presence in the early game, and this should be easy because you have the best level 3 ganks in the entire game. And even if Conqueror, the stacking is back to 5 seconds, which is what it's been for a while, as Rek'Sai you stack it quicker than anyone. So you don't have to go Electrocute or some other rune. Conqueror is so broken on this champion, and your one-shot potential is ridiculous. If you can jump on any enemy champion, you have the potential, especially if you go Red Smite, to 1v1 anyone. So Rek'Sai is number 14. Now number 13 on this countdown, we're heading to the bot lane here and talking about one of the best all-around supports on the Rift, and this is Nautilus. Whether you want to play Nautilus as an engaged champion, so you're going for those game-winning hooks, or if you just want to sit on your AD carry's head because they're very fed, no worries, both playstyles work and both can be very effective. Even in lane, Nautilus, because he is a hook champion, has so much pressure. Just make sure to go Glacial Augment if you're against 2 ranged champions in the bot lane, because the slow becomes even more valuable. But if you're against a tag support, maybe a Leona, maybe a Blitzcrank, maybe a Braum, you really need Aftershock to match their tankiness. So Nautilus fills the number 13 position, insane win rates in every single elo, so make sure you guys consider picking him in 12.7. Now beating Nautilus to number 12 on the countdown, we're heading to the mid lane and even the top lane for this pick, and this pick is getting buffed in 12.7. You guys will love to hear it, and this is Yone, whose ultimate at later ranks, so at rank 2, at level 11, and at rank 3 at level 16, the cooldown is going down up to 20 seconds at level 16, and if you're playing in lower elos where games tend to last a little bit longer, so you're going to hit level 16 and get to the late game spikes, this is actually going to be a pretty serious buff. I don't think people should underestimate this, because it doesn't look too great for higher elos, because games are most often decided by the 15-minute mark, but for most players this is going to allow you to get more of your fate seals off, and it's going to seal the fate of your opponent way more often, so this is pushing Yone into the top 15 for the first time in a few patches. Now ahead of Yone, coming in at number 11, is another champion getting changed in 12.7, and he even got changed last patch, and this is Rengar. And whether you're playing Rengar in the jungle or even in the top lane, this champion, if you can pilot him, if you can master the new mechanics, he is incredibly good. And what's happening this patch, if you're playing jungle Rengar, your W's damage is increasing. So when you're clearing those multiple jungle camps like Krugs, Wolves, Raptors, which means you'll be hitting level 6 sooner, you'll be getting your items sooner, and you can actually make plays on the map sooner. But there is something in the game at the moment where your Q completely shreds towers, so Ryder reducing the damage by 40%, which is real because no one likes their tower getting taken by the 5-minute mark, and because of how Rengar is at the moment, it's way too easy to get tower plates first tower, so even if you're a jungler you can abuse this, so Ryder turning this level of power down a little bit, but still the champion himself innately is very strong indeed, so if you want to have fun and win in 12.7, Rengar is certainly a great pick. Now starting off the top 10, guys, we're heading to the bot lane here and talking about, well, the only AD carry I've really suggested on this countdown, and this is Vayne. But don't worry, because there are more AD carries on this countdown, but they aren't your traditional typical AD carries, because for ADCs at the moment, even champions like Xayah and Jinx, yes, they are good, but in comparison to every other champion on this countdown, I'm sure we can understand that in the solo queue environment, they're probably not the wisest champions to play. But for Vayne, who can actually fend for herself, you can go up against pretty much anyone on the Rift, she's still in a very nice position, and how she interacts, just like Trundle, with lethal tempo, getting the attack speed and then the extra range and max stacks, it pretty much means you have no weakness. Now for sure, Vayne is difficult to play, and because of her short range without lethal tempo, you're really going to have to pay attention to what's on your screen and what's coming at you. But if you can do that, this champion has as much potential as any champ to 1v9. So Vayne starts off the top 10. Now coming in at number 9, we're heading back to the jungle here and talking about Kayn. And ever since Riot buffed the Gore Drinker, Black Cleaver, Hex Drinker, all of those bruiser items in 12.3, for Kayn it's giving you another avenue to play the game. So you can still go Shadow Assassin with Prowler's Claw, but you can also go Gore Drinker with Shadow Assassin too. This has been giving you more attack damage since 12.3, and the funny thing is, even though you're going a bruiser item, you still deal enough damage to kill the enemy squishies, but you now have the sustain. So I'd highly suggest taking Gore Drinker on Shadow Assassin if you're against lots of melee champions. This means you can get the active off and heal for a lot more and actually get out of that team fight rather than just trading 1-for-1. And of course these item changes are amazing for Rast, so Red Kayn really remains unchanged since 12.3. In other words, he's in an insanely strong position, but beating Kayn to the number 8 position is another champion who was really frothing it when these item changes hit the 12.3 rift, and they are still in the game. Nothing is getting nerfed for Riven in 12.7, and let's be honest, how can I not put Riven on this countdown, guys? She is way too powerful and probably one of the most obnoxious top laners to play against. Once you start getting your ability haste through Gore Drinker's passive, through Lucidity boost, through Black Cleaver, it's pretty much impossible to kill a Riven. Her mobility is as high as anyone's, you can never really land anything onto her, and her damage, if you do misplay, you can get punished in a split second. With Ignite as well in the top lane becoming more prevalent, it makes her laning phase way too strong, and because she's arguably the best scaling top laner, maybe even champion in the game, once she gets to 2-3 items, you can never 1v1 her unless she is legit like 0-10. That's what you have to hope for, so Riven is number 8. Now number 7 on the countdown, we're heading back to the bot lane and the best hook champion in the game. So we had Nautilus earlier, well we have Blitzcrank now. And for Blitzcrank, because lots of champions in the bot lane at the moment that have played a lot, so if we think of supports like Janna, like Sona, like Soraka, these guys have the best win rates and are picked quite a lot. Now Moonstone Renewer is getting nerfed, so some of them might not get picked as much. Blitzcrank is still going to hold his value, maybe even more value because of the Gale Force nerf hitting the 12.7 rift, so the cooldown is going up 20 seconds. So this means for hook champions like Blitzcrank, you're going to have more opportunities to hook them into you and blow them up with your teammates. So Blitzcrank holds the number 7 position, still a great support and carry support as well. Now ahead of Blitzcrank at number 6, we have Ahri. And to be honest, just like Riven, I don't think there needs to be that much explaining here because this champion, ever since she got changed a few patches ago, more damage on pretty much all of her abilities and the ultimate reset, she is just way too versatile. You can blind pick her into anyone, she has no real hard counters, so she's always going to be good, and you can play her really in a variety of ways. You can play her as a carry by building Sork Shoes and Ludens, or you can play her as like a utility-based mid laner where you set up kills for your teammates based around your ability haste and your charm. So you can go Everfrost to lock them down, land your charm, 100% dead. No one is going to survive that combo if your teammates are there, so Ahri is number 6. Now starting off the top 5, guys, and if you do enjoy these videos, make sure to let us know by leaving a like down below. Coming in at number 5, we have Bugsplat, so Kha'Zix, and just like a few other champions on this countdown like Rek'Sai, like Kayn, for a few patches now, well ever since 12.3, Kha'Zix has taken off even more because the new Gore Drinker and the new Bruiser items, they do really well for him, and even though you still can go Prowler's Claw, Duskblade, or some sort of lethality setup, just like Shadow Assassin Kayn, Gore Drinker is giving you enough damage to one-shot the squishy enemy champions, but what it gives you, the Prowler's Claw and Duskblade obviously don't give you, is tankiness, is durability, because for these assassins, if you do get caught out, you're going to die. Gore Drinker gives you compensation and a bit of security if you do mess up, which is going to happen. We can't play perfectly all the time. So Kha'Zix starts off the top 5, and beating him to number 4, I'm actually kind of excited about this pick, because for Pyke, he's actually getting a really nice buff. Now, not directly to Pyke, but one of his items, Umbral Glaive, whether you're playing Pyke in the mid lane or as a support, the item is now going to cost 100 less gold, but the active where you clear wards is on a lower cooldown. So for a roaming champion like Pyke, when you're roaming around the map and you're clearing vision, it's going to be very hard to play against because you won't know where he is as much as before. This is going to increase the pressure you have on the map and your kill pressure. This will inevitably lead to kills, lead to snowballs, lead to early wins. So Pyke, I'm really excited to see how he's going to perform in 12.7 because of the Umbral Glaive buff, and any Pyke mains, any assassins really in the comments, let me know what you think. And I meant assassins on the Rift, of course, not IRL. Now starting off the top 3, we're going to head to the top lane here and talk about Yorick, because just like Trundle who we mentioned earlier, Yorick, his synergy with Hullbreaker and the recent bug fixes and quality of life changes that have come in for him have been super clutch. They've made Yorick go from kind of okay to really good, if not broken. He currently has a 55% win rate in Platinum and above. If that doesn't tell you how strong a champion is, then I do not know what will. And there are no nerfs we have to worry about next patch. Some top laners might be getting buffed and might be a little bit more annoying during the laning phase, but this champion with Hullbreaker, Trinity Force, please just get me out. It's too oppressive, and he starts off the top 3. Now the top 2 champions here, it's kind of funny because we mentioned Vayne earlier, and I said that she was the only AD carry on this list. Well, the top 2 champions for 12.7, you can actually play them as an AD carry, but they're not your typical AD carry. So coming in at number 2, we have Veigar. Veigar. And whether you're playing Baby Gandalf in the bot lane or in the mid lane, this champion just has way too much agency and is still too good. Despite getting nerfed for the bot lane specifically, because those armor nerfs a few patches ago, he still dominates. There are 2 enemy champions in the bot lane. That means the hit rate of your cage is going to be a lot higher because you have more targets to go for, especially if the enemy champions are going to group up like they will in low elo a lot. It can be devastating and so snowbally. If your jungler is there, if your mid laner is ganking for you, land your cage, that's pretty much all you have to do. You don't even need to land your Q, W, or ultimate because your teammates will clean up. And Veigar, because of the accelerated scaling, because your Q is giving you more stacks, until that has really changed, I have to keep putting him on this countdown, guys, so I'm kind of sorry about that. But let me just say, if you are not abusing Veigar, please do so for free LP. He is incredible. But beating Veigar to number 1, we mentioned Yone earlier and his ultimate getting buffed. Well, for his twin brother Yasuo, it's exactly the same thing. His ultimate's cooldown is getting buffed, this time though in the early game, so late game it's still 30 seconds. But this means in the early game, during the laning phase, around dragon fights, Rift Herald fights, maybe diving enemy champions, your ultimate is going to be up more often, more opportunities for kills, and no doubt you are going to get more kills. But what's also happening is that your base HP is going to 520. So it's 490 at the moment, which makes you very squishy in the mid lane and honestly just exploitable. Like if you get ganked once, it is one reason that contributes to Yasuo's being 0-10 every game. But now at level 1, if you go D-Shield or D-Blade, you'll have around 600 HP. This is going to make you a lot harder to kill and exploit when you actually overextend. So Yasuo getting out of the early game, that's really the key for him because he scales so well and can become a very scary late game champion. And we could also say that Gale Force getting nerfed, you're going to be able to hit more champions with your Tornado, and because other champions on your team will be able to hit those high priority targets more often, this means you can land your ultimate, which is on a lower cooldown. That's just more kills. That's what I'm saying in 12.7 for Yas. So he is the number 1 champion, guys, for the first time in Yonks. Let me know in the comments exactly what you think of the changes, of the countdown, of the 15 champions we mentioned. And until tomorrow's daily upload, this has been Coach. Peace.